So do you know those videos on TikTok where they just take a movie and they splice it up and put it into parts and then they get a robot to narrate it? I saw one of them for the Life of Pi movie and I had to get the book. And this video, we're gonna read it and we're gonna see what we learn. Cue the intro. You might have realized that the intro music was different than the last video. I don't have the license intro music, but if you smash that subscribe button, maybe we can reach that. And 100 subs, I have something cooking up, so press that. Now, I'm not one of those people who writes notes while reading. It doesn't really make sense to me. That's what English class is for. And it's the summer, so I don't need to get memories of school. I do want to document the book experience with you guys, so I might just have to check in every chapter or so, every part, at the end of every part, and which is there's 3 parts, so there will be 3 segments, but we'll see how it goes. I read the first 10 chapters of this book so far. You get your normal exposition stuff, oh, I'm bullied, oh, because my name is when you look deep into it, I think there's a bit of a religious undertone. And nice there, and people want the freedom and all. And then he says, oh, the same thing is about religion, and then he never explains it. You get a stick. You're kind of giving us the religious undertones. It's a pretty interesting read, but this is what I get from the first 10 chapters. So we'll read the next 10 chapters. We're at chapter 20. Wow. You know how I said there were religious undertones? There's actually a big theme in Pi's life, religion. So probably gonna hear about that more throughout the book. So in Islam. As a Christian, I know not much about Islam, and I know even less about Hinduism. You don't know about these, and they're referencing things about in this book, and you don't know what they mean. Yeah, so you're gonna have to take up out of your own volition. You're gonna have to go research. So I just finished reading chapter 37, then chapter 35 of Life of Pi. It goes, yay, and then they left India, so they left the zoo, they said goodbye to all their friends. In this book, it switches between the Pi and the narrator and Yann Martel. So it switches between Pi and Yann Martel. In the future, it is the future talking. So I like the one where it's he shows me family memorabilia. And we find out who Richard Parker is, maybe. Because it says on the blurb, Richard Parker, a 450-pound Royal Bengal tiger. However, in a group shot, mostly of school children, he taps the photo. That's Richard Parker, he says. Now, that means that Richard Parker is a human, but he's also a tiger. There's little bits of comedy in these pages, which I really like. That's a good thing. The chapters are really short, but that's neither good or bad, because usually the chapters in here, they're jam-packed full of information. So that's also a good thing. I can say, oh, I read 50 chapters in a day, and then it's 50 chapters. It's what, 120 pages, which is still a lot. For me, 20 chapters, 20 pages. So they're really short chapters. So we get a good cast of characters. The Patel family, Ravi. We get to meet the swimming teacher Mamaji. I'm butchering the pronunciation. We get to learn about his life, the name of the book, Life of Pi. There was hints of religious undertones, and then you get hit with the giant religious theme in this guy's life. There's a conflict between the Muslim, Hindu, and Christian sides of his life. He thinks that he should just love God, in the best way that he can. There's a lot of deep quotes in here. I'll put them up on the screen. Oh, I can't talk about the zoo animals. The zoo animals are really good. I like the chapters where they just talk about the zoo. It's very vivid description. Wonder what's gonna happen to him and family. His family's gonna die, obviously. So we'll see how it is. So I was really going to split this into parts, but I read all of part 2 while I was doing on my room. So we'll just do all of part 2 now. Part 2, we finally know who Richard Parker is. He's a lion. Still doesn't explain the picture though, because why would a tiger be in front of all the school children? It doesn't make sense. But talking about the stern and the boat, I don't know a lot of boat parts, and when I googled it, I still didn't understand. Geese Island thing, I also don't understand that. But anyway, I like the good cast of characters at the start. So it's split into the first week and then more of a episodic thing later on. It starts off Pi as a small scared little boy, and then at the end it's like he killed a guy. He killed lots of animals, and he's a zoologist. One thing I forgot to mention is that this part has a lot of emotions, and kudos to Yann Martel for making these emotions so descriptive. Reluctance to let go, insanity, desperation. It kind of shows the length that a person would go when trying to survive. I can talk a lot about this, but I'll probably just make another video because this video is way too long. It's funny because the smaller part of the book gets a bigger share of the vid than the longer part. Anyways, yeah. Hopefully there's no big he was dead all the time plot twist, but we'll read the rest. So I was wrong. There is a big plot twist at the end. Okay, well, it's not really a plot twist because there's kind of 2 endings. Yeah, you get to choose. That's the point of the story. There's no truth. Either the gruesome one, you get to believe the gruesome one, or you get to believe the happy one. And that's the same with God, as Pi says. All of the animals were on the boat. There's also all the people. So they both scenarios could have happened. Both scenarios also tried to explain the unexplainable. So okay, well, first of all, really funny. It was really funny. The chapter 99 gonna be my favorite chapter. Just the two detectives. That is really funny. One of them is that he ate all of them. He ate everybody on the ship. He ate everybody on the lifeboat. This is not a good thing. But their second implication is that he was trying to kill Richard Parker in the first few days. So maybe that's kind of an allegory that wants to kill himself or whatever. Secondly, they still don't explain the Teeth Island thing, so they'll just leave that unexplained, but that's fine. So Richard Parker was actually the boy. It was actually Pi, which is wow. What a revelation. This whole video was me trying to find out who Richard Parker was, and now I realize Richard Parker was the title of the book. It's a pretty good book. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 book. Some of you have to read this for school. I just picked this up because I saw it on TikTok, but it's really good that you guys get to read this in school. Put it in all the schools, put it in all the libraries, put it in the hotels. This book is amazing. 10 out of 10. And I'm gonna go for a movie night now. Guess which movie I'm gonna watch.